the theme because it's time for Nerdy for 30. It's the podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish movies for 30-ish minutes. My name is Kevin Bauer, a.k.a. the Critic's Choice. With me, as always, is the People's Champ, Tim Keck. And today, we are talking about Monkey Man.
Monkey Man, man, dude, this was cool. This was pretty dang cool. I think we both left being like, you know, I wish there was more action. Like the quantity wasn't there, but the quality was top notch, I think, as far as like the violence in it. When it happened, I thought it was very good. I feel like this is like Dev Patel's project, right? It's like his baby. Mm-hmm. I feel like Dev really wants to be an artist and really wants to be, you know, it can't just be a John Wick. It has to be like artsy fartsy, and we have to have some weird scenes where there's like smoke or something going on. And I don't know. It's a little weird. I feel like I tuned out at certain points, but you know, at the end of the day, I think it was a pretty cool movie. Kev, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I really liked it. It's funny you mentioned that with the artist thing. I can totally see that. This movie kind of made me realize, oh my God, Dev Patel, you're one of us. You're a dirty dog, man. I know you want to be artsy. It seems like everything he's done is artsy. That's kind of the reputation I had for him. You know, he's out there doing Wes Anderson movies. It's artsy. I love Wes. If you're in a Wes movie, you've got an artsy gear that you can kick into. And then watching him make this, it's like, oh yeah, dude, you're a John Wick. Like, you can do this. You have the gift.
Do you think he does, though? Do you think he can pull it off? Did he pull it off successfully being a John Wick?
Yeah, I think so. I did want to talk to you about this, too, because I think this is really interesting. I totally think he did. I think I totally bought the action scenes, and I don't necessarily think he's like right on the cusp for me. We've talked a lot in this show about the badass factor. Some people have it. Some people don't have it. Michelle Rodriguez, badass factor.
Yes.
Natalie Portman would not have expected it. Then I saw Annihilation. Definitely badass factor. Like she can turn it off behind the eyes and just go into killer mode. Dev Patel seems like a very sweet person. So he's really on the bubble for me with whether or not I can like think of him as a badass in this way. But everything he was doing in this movie put me over the line on him. It was like having a score that's high enough to qualify, even though like all the other factors weren't there for the badassness. But I also think it might be because he got the shit kicked out of him in this movie. I think if you make a movie that you're starring in and you're directing and you try to portray yourself as an unkillable badass the entire time, like if Keanu had made John Wick right after Bill and Ted, nobody buys it. Nobody goes for this. You can't do that. You can't just make a movie where you make yourself the coolest person in the world. Dev Patel spends the first 75% of this movie just getting the absolute shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, it feels earned.
Yeah.
The character's arc is very cool. And at first I was kind of like, why are we going through this? I feel like it's maybe a little too much. I mean, I feel like I got it immediately. And then they like kind of kept retelling this story of like what happened to his mom and his family. And they talked about it a lot. I feel like and immediately I'm like, oh, shit happened. It was really bad. These are the guys who did it. I don't know why we're still reminiscing about this, but it was really his driving force. And he had an arc where he went from getting his ass beat to beating ass, you know, like the whole time he's in this like boxing ring fighting as a monkey, and all he does is take dives. Like all he does is lose fights. He gets the crap beat out of him. He takes a beating and he loses. And then after his like redemption arc, he gets back in the ring and he just starts breaking people. And it's awesome. It's cool to see this mental shift. It's cool to see this happen. And yeah, then he does the John Wick thing at the end, which I think is great. And it feels earned. He goes from Dev Patel to a guy in a suit, you know, stabbing people in a kitchen. You know, it's cool. It's very cool. I do want to push back on your Natalie Portman thing, though. I think there is a difference on my four quadrants for great male actors, which I think maybe can apply to well, specifically for men. But in this instance, the four quadrants or the three quadrants are funny, badass, or great actor. And I think that maybe you're conflating badass with great actor. I think Dev Patel's a good actor. I think he's very good. And I think he's able to act like a badass. I don't know if he just is badass. You know what I'm saying? I think Natalie Portman is such a good actor that she can become badass. But Michelle Rodriguez is badass. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily because of her acting. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. That's a very interesting consideration. I want to push back on your pushback.
Yes.
By saying I do think that there is something about Natalie Portman. I did not expect to talk about Natalie Portman so much on this podcast.
I think you did. I think this is exactly what you wanted.
What are we at minute 4? Yeah, we're right on track here. I think Natalie Portman in real life, even if she wasn't an actor, I think she's the kind of person that would never get pushed around at a car dealership. You are not going to rattle her. You're not going to fuck with her. She has a great deal of composure to her. I think she's Juilliard trained. Obviously she's got the art side, but I do think that there's definitely a part of her that is not getting pushed around. I feel like somebody could push an upgrade to Dev Patel's car that he didn't go in wanting.
I guess I see that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if we're just comparing apples to oranges, I think Natalie Portman is a better actor than Dev Patel is.
It's early. It's early in the Dev Patel game, though. I think we've got time for him to do some wild shit like May December,
Yeah, but I think Natalie Portman is top tier. I think she's very good.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know if you're. I feel like your view of badassery is a little different than mine. I'm thinking who would I not want to fight in a dark alley? And you're who wouldn't get bullied at a coffee shop? Well, and I think maybe this is some personal bias coming in that you're getting afraid. You're afraid someone's going to upsell you on something.
How dare you insinuate anything about my fully loaded Hummer H3, Tim? I am drowning in car payments.
It's a lot of car.
The example is just a vestige of the whole thing. The badass factor. I saw a guy in the grocery store today where he came in the store. I was looking at something. I caught him out of the corner of my eye coming in the store, took one look at him. And I was like, oh, this guy would kill someone without a second thought. There's just there's just a vibe. He had those ice blue eyes. It's something, I think there is an ability to go cold behind the eyes, an ability to go dead behind the eyes. But for me, the badass factor comes down to the extent to which a person is able to inflict violence or death upon someone and live with it perfectly fine.
And Natalie Portman's up there. Natalie Portman can kill and probably has killed. This is what you're saying on the pod. You're saying Natalie Portman has taken lives, feels no remorse.
That's on record. You can aggregate it. You can take that anywhere you want. Start the investigation.
Okay. We'll see. I don't know why she was never interviewed for the OJ trial. That's all I'm throwing out there. Just rewatched OJ Made in America.
Check the records, dude.
Check the records.
Where was she? That's all I'm saying. Where was she?
They caught a Simpson, but did they investigate a Portman? That's what I want to know.
I'm just asking questions, Tim.
Just asking questions. Tucker Carlson, just asking questions. Where was Natalie Portman during the OJ Simpson trial? Was her blood in the vehicle? Does she have the knife? I'm just asking questions.
Dude. It's a question.
This is a question.
It's a question. How that can't hurt anybody. It's just a question.
It's just a question. Evolution isn't real.
I do think.
Is it?
All right.
Question mark?
Oh my God, dude. So on the Monkey Man topic.
Sure. We'll go back to Monkey Man, I guess.
I am really interested in the fact that it seems like if Dev made this movie, clearly this guy loves John Wick. This is much more of a hand-to-hand combat movie than John Wick is. John Wick is a lot more like gun action. You've talked at length about the differences between these action categories. But it's so clear that he likes a grimy fight movie. You know, he likes people fighting dirty. There's some wild takedowns in this thing. Both of us were, very audible. I think we were the two most audible people in our theater, especially when the guy catches a hatchet to the throat. Just an unexpected hatchet to the throat. Like, that alone earns you dirty dog territory for life. Like, if Dev Patel makes any other action movies, I will go see every single one of them. So it is so interesting to me that, like, he does seem to want to elevate this to such an extent that he is crossfading images of, I think, macaques, whatever the breed of monkey was. He's crossfading images of that over himself meditating and stuff.
That's so dumb. Honestly, that was so dumb. Just in the middle of the movie, they're like, we're going to show Nat Geo footage of just some monkeys. And it's like, what are we doing right now? Why is it crossfading over somebody? I thought it was so silly.
It was wild. I don't think it hit the mark for the artistry he was trying to achieve there. Like, I think anybody who's actually into like films, I don't think that does it for them. They already knew. We got it. We know he is Hanuman.
I mean, the last one I saw was Dev Patel movie I saw, I think, was Green Knight, which was something I hated and was just way too complicated. But I think Dev likes that stuff. I think he's like, it can't just be a night in the woods. It has to be like surreal. It has to be like all this stuff. And the arc of the character is great, but there is a lot of like fluff around it. There's a lot of, you know, now all of a sudden he's getting stoned and there's like monkey things. And there's like, how many would you say? 100 like images of a monkey god in this? They just keep cutting back to it. Like, I get it. I know what it is. Then you compare that to him learning to box with a guy drumming is incredible.
Sick.
They got just the drummer totally sick, going, dude. Banging all kinds of rhythm, telling jokes, and he's punching to the rhythm, and it's great. And all the ladies of the village or whatever are just like oohing and ahhing at him while he's doing it, and then they take turns punching it. I'm just like, that is way more up my alley than I'm gonna go sit and meditate and look sweaty while we just show stills of monkeys, you know, floating over his face, or we cut to a fabric, like a what do you call it? Like a painting of the Monkey King. And then we're also going to crossfade that with these snippets of a flashback that we know we're getting, and we all pretty much know what it is. There's no surprises there. Even though I will say, if you're going to, which I feel like this happened in Sartor Udum too, when we watched that, is that they allude to an event. Like, we're going to have a flashback of an event. The event was awful. And I think if you do that, the event has to be truly awful in the movie. Otherwise, it's underwhelming. And you're like, you've been wasting our time kind of talking about this the whole time. Not as like a historical thing, but as like a film and like filmmaking. Right. If you're talking about something the whole time,
isolation of the movie itself. Yeah.
Yes. In the isolation of the movie, you have to deliver if you're talking about something the whole time. And I think this does. When they finally get to the flashback, it is gruesome. It's traumatic. It's a lot. I don't know if I needed so many like flashes of it throughout the movie. Or I don't know. It felt like we spent a lot of time talking about this thing that we all kind of knew what it was already. And I don't know if it was pretty heavy handed, I thought, in the fact that this guy has a traumatic past and we're going to keep bringing it up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you think there's a shorter cut of this movie? I think this clocks in at what, like 205? Like, yeah. Do you think we can get this bad boy down to like 110?
I think it's like 153. I think they could trim 15 minutes off of this for sure. Yeah, I guess it's not as long as I thought it was, but I bet there's probably a really awesome 90-minute cut. But I guarantee you this is what Dev Patel wants. Like, at least he doesn't want the 90-minute cut. He wants this.
I think it started longer. I think this is the cut down version, because this was originally in development for Netflix. This was going to be a Netflix original movie.
Oh.
I think for the first part of filming, I shouldn't be going on record saying this. I don't know if that's confirmed, but Netflix was heavily involved.
You don't know it the way you know Natalie Portman.
No, dude, I can talk about Natalie Portman, the O.J. Simpson trial all day long. This is
yes, of course. I don't mean to derail it. That's a separate pod.
Yeah, that will be coming on Tuesday. Now, I think Jordan Peele took over. So this is a Monkey Paw production. I think he took it over for the back half of the production. And who's the other studio that released this? I mean,
I don't know.
What I heard was that Netflix got uncomfortable with some of the similarities in the political storylines with things that have actually happened. And so they don't want to piss off their Indian subscriber base or people within that Indian subscriber base. And seems a lot like if there was like a really partisan movie made and, you know, they had to release it here, like it'd be a tough sell for everybody.
I will say this is a very interesting movie, like politics wise. It just seems like there are strong views being asserted in this about, you know, like government corruption, about like people at the top manipulating people. It's he trains with like a group of transgender women who are also like a warrior tribe that are in poverty, living out of this temple with this god of duality that is part male, part female, part life, part sick. Death. And that whole thing is very cool. I think there's a way. I don't know. I think that could have been messed up pretty easily. And I thought that whole thing was cool. All of those characters were cool. The duality of that is very neat and kind of fit with the theme. But also it didn't need it. But it is what makes it different from John Wick. When you're like, oh, sure. Dev Patel just wants to pretend to be John Wick. It's like, yeah, but also he's got these other ideas that he wants to explore as well. And that stuff worked for me. Honestly, the temple, like once he starts training and everything, that gets pretty awesome to me. Okay. Do you think Dev Patel, you said you would see another action movie with Dev Patel. Do you really think you can picture Dev Patel in another action movie?
Yeah, like one, especially one that he's not directing. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, big time. Oh,
I'd
see him in a heist movie for sure. We've talked about doing a heist draft. We could do like a speculative heist draft. He'd be kind of fun to have somewhere in there. But like him in like a Guy Ritchie movie, like I can see that for sure. Him in a Kingsman movie, I'd see the shit out of that.
I don't know if I buy it entirely yet. I don't know if I do 100%. I feel like it definitely works in this context. I feel like him just walking in off the street in a suit and beating people up. I don't know if I'm necessarily there yet in a vacuum in a whole nother movie setting, you know?
Sure. Like if he's one of the guys in Bullet Train, you're not all the way in on him.
Right. Like, I don't know. Maybe something more like that, where it is like he's an assassin and he can use a gun, you know. But as far as him brawling with people in alleys or something like that, like I don't know if I'm buying all the wrestling scenes the same way if he isn't wearing the mask in them. You know?
Oh.
If it's Dev in the ring fighting these guys, I don't think I'm buying it as much as satisfying it is with the mask on. And there's a point at the end of the movie. He's wearing the mask. Oh. He's doing the wrestling, and then he's walking around. He dyes the mask white. He's walking around. He's looking at everything. He's got the white mask on. I'm like, this is going to be badass. Then immediately he takes it off, drops it, and then goes and fights some guys as Dev Patel. Like, I don't like what was the point of that? Why is he lurking around in the mask?
Dude, that was my beef. What happened? It looks so cool. The bleached mask looks incredible.
Yeah, but he was just doing it to hype himself up, I guess. Or was he trying to hide his face? Like what? Why was he doing it? Why is he walking around in a white monkey mask?
Oh my God. That's just
why
his version of the McConaughey thing. The like, thing that he does in, what's that movie called?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Not The Big Short, the other Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, that I guess McConaughey actually does before takes. Is he like psychs himself up? That's just his thing that he does. And then Scorsese saw him doing it and was like, what the fuck is that? We're filming that. Yeah, Dev Patel has the white monkey mask. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it was cut from a longer version of the movie. I think it's insane that we didn't get one more fight scene with the bleached mask, at least. But maybe it's just so that his face can be there as he's beating people's asses.
It's definitely there because, I mean, this is his vanity project. You know, it is like the point of it is to see him fighting guys like that in a suit. It is also weird that it's a suit now. I guess he's wearing a suit to go into this place. And because the trope of somebody now with John Wick, somebody well dressed doing all of these things makes sense. Mm-hmm. But he's not blending in. He's not trying to sneak into this thing. He could be wearing whatever he wants. And where did he get the suit? Is the temple he's training in with the ladies going to have a nice tailored suit readily available for him? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Yeah. It is like he does all of this artsy fartsy stuff, but then at the end of the day, he really just wants to be John Wick, and he gets that moment. And I don't know. It's funny. It's cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. I think getting hung up on the badass factor with him, I think so much of it comes down to the eyes, because he has such kind eyes. But picture him earlier in the movie when he is begging for the job and he just looks so exhausted. Like at the very beginning of this movie, when he looks so tired, when he's saying like, give me the job that no one else wants to do, I'll do it. Like the vibe that he's putting off, it's so you fully believe him when he was like, I will do anything. Like I will do any job you need me to do. That's a guy that I can see as like an assassin in a movie. That's a guy that I can see on a crew that's there to steal $1 billion from bank vault or something, you know?
Yeah. And I guess I do feel like he is more of a suit badass than a, t-shirt and jeans badass,
Sure. Yeah. He's no Alan Richardson. He's just going to walk down the street of a small town and throw people through ATMs.
Like him being well dressed makes him more professional. It feels like a little more sophisticated. It's just a different kind of vibe than him just fighting Alan Richardson outside or something.
Damn, dude. We got to see Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
We're going to. We got to. It's happening.
That cast is unreal.
So I had a little beef with the knife work in this. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically with the bad guy. Right. Or the guy who kills his mom. Right. Mm-hmm. And he recognizes this guy because he has a scar, and the scar is like along the side of his head. I don't remember if it cut off his ear, but his ear's scarred at least.
Yeah.
It's like but it's a sideways thing. And if someone's coming towards you, I guess I'm confused why it wasn't a stab. Like it ended up like his mom ended up slashing the side of his face, like running the knife along the side of his face, as opposed to trying to stab him with it. And that just seems like an unusual thing for me. It looks cooler, but I don't know why he wasn't stabbed. And then also when he's fighting Dev Patel, there's a moment when Dev Patel takes the knife out of his leg and then reaches over his shoulder and stabs, I think the guy's name's Reina.
Oh, seemingly in the face.
And I thought it was his eye. I thought it was like, oh, shit. But then the next scene, he's fine again. And I guess he had a little scratch over his eye or something. But that looked like that was like a full on stab. And he still has both his eyes and seems fine. Like what? I don't know. They just seem like weird, questionable knife work is what I'm saying, Dev. If you're going to do this again,
sure.
Let's get this blocking figured out. I'm just not sure, either of these make sense. I swear, I thought for sure it went in his eye the first time.
Oh, yeah. For a second, I thought Dev killed him.
I thought he did, too.
And that's why I was trying to escape. But yeah, I mean, like the serious answer, extremely adrenaline fueled moment. It's like a very traumatizing place to be in either side. You're probably just kind of flailing as much as anything, trying to defend yourself. More
also the
fun
fact that
answer.
He doesn't kill the guy.
True.
Sorry, more fun answer.
This guy's just got a head that's really hard to hit.
I think
you
so.
Cannot hit this guy's head.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Is it okay? Do you think the head is hard to hit, or do you think the head is so hard that it just can't be penetrated?
Ooh, like
it can be slashed around the outside. It's like a balloon wrapped in rubber bands, you know, like you can kind of like slice the rubber bands off. But if you I know that's not a good example. That's like
I'm thinking
rubber bands around a rock. Something with rubber bands.
You know that thing that boxers do where they'll like just try to dodge punches and like a punch will come through and they're like experts at dodging every which way. I'm picturing this guy can do that, but everything from his shoulders down stays stationary. He's just bobbing and weaving with the head alone. He's got he's like a Funko Pop, the old school ones.
He's like it's like the Dragon Ball Z dodge where like someone shoots a giant blast at your entire body and somehow they dodge it just by like tilting their head to the right. Yeah. That makes sense. That tracks. What did you think about his relationship with I think her name was Sita, but it seems like his like love interest in this movie, but they like keep crossing paths and there's like some tension there, but then I guess she has kind of an arc where she is also escaping the tyranny that she is under. Like she's a prisoner basically, and she revolts as well. And I don't know. I guess I was expecting more to happen there. And I'm not sure it did, or if I don't know if the movie necessarily needed it, but whatever.
Yeah. Again, maybe a longer cut there, maybe more from that. Big line for her though, when he's feeding the dog where she says, don't feed her. You're just going to give her hope. I was like, oh, all right. I see where you are. You've resigned yourself to this life. You've resigned yourself to the corruption and the world that you live in. You're just trying to make money despite the fact that it's horrible conditions for you. And then he's inspired her by the end of the movie to take up arms in her own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so much of this is so symbolic. And I'm interested in, maybe some of our Indian listeners can shed a light on this for us. I'm interested just because Netflix was so sensitive about this movie that they ended up not releasing it. I'm curious as to what aspects of this are like directly pulled from modern day society that would make them so sensitive. I don't think any of the political figures are real political figures, but clearly there's meant to be some kind of something, you know, like it feels like there's more of a direct comparison being drawn here than there is in anything that's happening in like Alex Garland's Civil War, where it's very apolitical. It seems like this one, even though it's not real figures, it seems to be like very political.
Yeah, it does seem kind of political, but I guess I agree. I'm not as in the loop with Indian politics or necessarily what they're mirroring here, other than, I mean, you know, it maps onto American politics a little bit too. So, but you're right. It does seem a little more personal than just like a general allegory for, you know, abuse from governments and things like that. Why was he had that friend that was like following him around, you know, the little guy that he like won over, and the guy, and Dev steals his car, and then the guy is like, wait, hold up, and gets in the car with him.
Yeah. What was that about? I
don't know. Why was he doing that?
He wasn't a wanted accomplice yet, was he?
No, he wasn't an accomplice. Maybe some part of him thought he would be an accomplice because Dev was kind of his guy. They also show him getting bullied by like the chief of police or whatever, where they're just like, oh yeah, show us your leg or something like that. Someone cut it because you were a thief or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then I guess he got bullied, but then he's also not with Dev the whole time. So now he jumps in Dev's car and now he is on the run independently. But I guess then they do show the newscast, like, and his accomplice with this guy. But I guess would they have shown that if he hadn't gotten in the car? It just seems like he made a big choice, and I'm not sure why he did that or what he gets out of it. I don't think
it paid off for him either. Yeah. Maybe again, you know, maybe it's just a stressful moment. You just act. Sometimes you just act.
Okay. Aside from the axe to the neck, which is incredible, do you have a favorite kill, gross moment, good action movie moment? There was one I mean, I'm always a sucker for, I mean, some dude's face went through a toilet, which I think is awesome. I always love that.
Ow.
Through a sink is great. I think there was one with a sink and collapsing. There were some good ones. And then he chops off a woman's thumb with a plate, which was pretty cool. There's some intense action scenes in this that were pretty badass and fun. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah. Oh my God. The one with the knife where he grabs it with his teeth and finishes the rest of the way is like, it's something. Awesome. A friend of mine in college used to have this thing where her rule was that you shouldn't get to work in a genre unless the new work that you're creating has one thing that does something no one's ever done in the genre before.
Yes.
Like she was like militant, like you must be pushing the genre forward. Otherwise your work is a waste of time. And I can honestly say that grabbing the knife with the teeth and finishing the kill is something that I have never seen before.
That's crazy. I've never seen that at all. That's so fun. I thought he was going to like headbutt it in.
Yeah, same.
But grabbing the teeth is even crazier. Again, I don't know if it makes any sense. The knife stuff in this very flimsy. He also takes a knife. He picks up 2 knives in the kitchen. He has one in his hand. He puts one in his jacket. And then I don't remember him ever pulling it out. The whole time I was looking for him to pull out the second knife. And I don't think he ever did.
Yeah, that's the thing about preparation, though. If you're adequately prepared, you're going to feel like you over-prepared.
Yeah, is that what it is? It's just him over-preparing? Because there were a couple times later where it's like, man, you could really use a knife right now. You know, this guy's stabbing you with his fun shoes. And it's like, oh, a knife might have been a little helpful there. That's pretty neat. Man.
Dude, it hurt me to see him get chumped so hard with the end when he gets killed. Just because it's like, you got to see that coming. You absolutely have to see that shoe coming.
Especially because the police chief did it to him, you know?
Yeah.
It happened to him twice. He's got the gun on the police chief the first time. And then something happens. He looks away. The police chief knocks the gun out of his hand. And that starts the whole scuffle in the first half. Right. Then he's doing this. And what happened? Fireworks or something. And he looks away from this guy again. He's distracted a second time and then gets stabbed. So like, what is the point of this? It just seemed, I don't know if it's lazy or what it is that he is just, I don't know, that he's so easily distracted by this. Like he's so intense about everything else. Did it seem a little weird to you that he like killed the police chief and then kept going? But I guess they reveal that guru guy was responsible for his family being killed.
Yeah, he's the real villain. He's the emperor behind Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Maybe all of the crossfades of monkeys were trying to tell us that Dev Patel has ADHD as this character, and he just keeps thinking of monkeys.
The whole time he's like, man, monkeys are cool. Just looking around thinking about how cool monkeys are. Yeah.
Anytime he looks away from whoever he's talking to, he's just imagining a monkey in that moment. And it's what he loved, but it's also the thing that got him killed.
ADHD assassin is like a pretty funny bit. And just all you need to do is just start rambling about a topic and he'll get distracted and then you can just stab him. And it just happens every single time. The idea of like somebody having like trying to make a plan and then just falling apart, like they just can't do it. You know, they're like, I'm supposed to wait here. And it's like, fuck it. And just going.
Oh, that's really fun. Do something with that. You got to do something with that. That's fun.
I'll add it to the list.
Yeah.
Anything else, Kevin?
I think that's it. You know, pretty cool movie. Definitely worth a look. And I was happy with it. I think
it was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, got a thumbs up from Kevin.
Yeah, you know, hey, I'm not afraid to throw it around.
A casual below the shoulder thumbs up.
Yeah, it's down here.
It's down here. It's locked and loaded.
Oh,
ready to cock off, but not yet.
Ready to cock off. Listener, what did you think? Send us an email. We'll read it on the show. nerdy430@gmail.com. We'll be back here again next week with a long-awaited podcast. It's Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver.
Yes.
We got a lot to talk about on this one. We'll see you there. Stay nerdy, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.